Hey there, my name is Ia Tostado, and I'm one of the members of the Rice House City team working on the mobile application. And today, this video is about the calendar feature of the mobile app. So, if you remember, or if you haven't seen the video yet, there is also one on the map feature. But today, I want to just focus on the calendar. Now, what I want to focus on here is exactly how you would use the calendar and what all the colors mean more directly. So right now we're looking at the year 2025, and as you can see, it's pretty green. This is last year, and you can click on any single one of these days, and you'll be able to see what exactly was the AQI for that day. So for example, this is, let me see here, June 19th. So June 19th, you can see that the AQI was 23, and that is extremely low. That's in the green right here in the good. So what you want is a lower AQI. AQI is a measure of how much PM 2.5 there is and other types of particulate matter that are in the air. So just measuring in general the air quality and the level of air pollution. So lower AQI just means lower air pollution concentration, right? Now, what I want to do is I actually want to look at 2020. So this is in the middle of the pandemic. This was right when COVID was at its peak. And as you can see, the air quality actually reflects that. We have a lot more of these red dates, a lot more of this orange, this red, and even some purple. So you might be wondering, what exactly do these colors mean? What does it mean for a day to be green or purple or red or orange or yellow? And we have a page for that. So you're going to want to scroll up here, and we have multiple tabs in order for you to measure exactly what is the impact on your health of each of these levels of AQI. So we're going to click right up here on health impact, and it's going to show what exactly does each AQI level mean for your health. So what we want to aim for is this green right here. This means that there are no health impacts expected whatsoever. You can go outside, you can do exercise outside, you can keep all your windows open, doors open. It's perfectly fine. This is great air quality you're looking at. Now, what's kind of common is also these moderate days. So these days are usually also very okay. You can go outside, you can do exercise outside. There's not too much to be concerned about unless you're very particularly sensitive to high levels of air pollution. And what's very important for me to make a distinction here is we have two versions of unhealthy. So between an AQI of 100 and 150, we have that it is unhealthy for sensitive groups. That's USG, unhealthy for sensitive groups. And you might be wondering who exactly counts in this category of sensitive groups. And we have that actually right here in this top part here. So who counts as a sensitive group? This is children under the age of 18, older adults over the age of 65. These are pregnant women, and these are individuals who have very strong respiratory or even acute respiratory conditions. So if you have anything that impacts your lungs or throat, then this includes you as a sensitive group. You are particularly sensitive to even slightly higher than average levels, or well, slightly higher than good or moderate AQI or air pollution. So I want to come back down here. And what you want to see here is that they say the exact same thing. You want to limit your outdoor use, how often you're outside, and you want to definitely restrict the amount of exercise that you do outdoors, because exercise requires a lot of breathing, a lot of heavy breathing. And so if you're running or jogging, you'll notice that you're inhaling a lot more, and so you're inhaling all that air pollution, all that dust, everything that can cause a bit of damage, especially in these higher levels of AQI. And so right now I'm on the web version just because it's a lot larger and so it's easier to see. But you would be able to see this on your phone just as easily. So here we are. Once again, it's just telling you what activities you should avoid. So that's this part right here on the recommended actions that you can take. Now, as you may have seen earlier, we also had this purple region and we didn't have any browns yet. But in this purple region, this is an extremely high alert situation. So in the 7 years of data that we have here, we only have in the year 2020 2 days, 2 days worth of data that is in the purple, and only 5 that are in the red. And so it is very important to note how rare a purple day is, how rare a hazardous level of AQI there is, that you should take it seriously. This is a moment where if you see very heavy coughing, if you see that you're having difficulty breathing, it is important for you to contact 911, contact emergency services, and make sure that you get the assistance and the help that you need, right? Another important feature of the calendar app is that you can actually see here the year and the month in review. So we're going to click on the year in review and we're going to compare last year, 2025, with the same year, 2020. And you're going to want to look at these huge differences in the monthly average AQI. Now this averages over all the sites. So I'm talking everything that's in the South San Francisco and San Bruno areas. But if you really wanted to, you can really hone in on just specific sites. So if you're closer to, say, Grundy Park, or if you're closer to the Rivian facility, then it may be good for you to look at those sites in particular. Also, if you don't want to click on each site individually in this drop-down menu, you can scroll down here, and on this right side, you can see a site ranking. So we can see that for the South San Francisco West Borough, there is a very low average AQI, about 14 for this area right here. But if you scroll down, it increases in average AQI. And so we can see that the South City Lights actually has an average AQI of 40, almost 3 times as high as what we saw earlier. Okay. And so now here we can see comparisons between the year of 2025 and the year of 2020. Now for 2025, we have here an AQI of 29, 14. Let's look at September, which is what we were looking at earlier. So an AQI average of 17 for the month of September in 2025. And in 2020, the average was 71. That is about a 4 times increase in AQI between 2025 and 2020. So we can see that it was extremely high in that year. Now, if you want to look at just that year specifically, you can compare 2020 with itself in order to see all of the notable pollution events for that year. So we have here, we have our 2 days, September 10th and September 11th, that experienced very unhealthy AQI levels. We're talking 228 and an AQI of 248, which is exceptionally high. And we can see that the days leading afterwards, September 12th, 13th, and 14th, we had very unhealthy levels of AQI. Now, down here, we can see more advocacy snapshots. And so importantly here, you can see that there were 12 days that were above the moderate AQI. It's very common to see moderate AQI and good AQI. If we come back to our daily calendar, you can see that there's a lot of greens and yellows. You're usually going to see a lot of good and moderate AQIs throughout the year. And so what this is telling us is that for 12 days, we saw either orange, red, or purple days. So 12 days out of the year, there was an extremely high level of air pollution. We can also look at the month. So we're really interested now in September of 2022. So we're going to click on September 2022, And now you can see exactly that only 43% of the days had good air quality. Less than half of the days in the month of September had good air quality. The rest were either moderate or worse. And so now here we can see a breakdown by the week and by the hour. And so what you want to notice here is that very commonly in September, you had these really high levels of air pollution late into Sunday night, bleeding into Monday morning, right? And you can again see in a larger calendar format each of these days individually, including their PM 2.5 levels and the number of sensors that contributed to this valuation of PM 2.5 and AQI ratings. Now, you might be wondering, what can you use this information for? So say that this was late 2020, you've been feeling this strong cough for some time now. It is really important to kind of see here when exactly that might have started. You might remember that it was a Wednesday early in September that you first got this cough, and you can kind of lead that back into one of these 3 Wednesdays, kind of narrow it down and see that really the 9th is when you started a pattern of really bad AQI days. And so you'd be able to pinpoint exactly what days may have contributed to any kind of throat or respiratory symptoms that you were experiencing. And coming back to the daily calendar, coming back to the year 2025, we can see here that 2025 was looking very good. Usually you will see a lot of greens and oranges. This just means that overall it's been a good year with low air pollution. Now, preferably we would want to see all greens, but this is also pretty great. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.